Get Sweaty with Leddy, a wellness program about pain management.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. My guest today was one of my Star Tribune newspaper finds, J.M. Michael Lynch, founder of Farina Rossa Kitchen, which originally started as a pizza pop-up, but now has graduated to a brick and mortar thanks to Fair State Brewing in Minneapolis. Farina Rossa is the first stable home that J.M. cooked up after years of suffering from food allergies. The New Jersey native grew up with a family of celiacs, and it wasn't until his discovery of heritage grains that his body began to heal. So let's hop inside, get a good sweat, and see how food heals JM. Here we are, we're in the sauna. I've got my guest JM Lynch next to me here. Super excited to chat about your amazing story and how you use something that caused so much pain and now it brings you joy to others in a form of delicious pizza. So JM, please tell us, what brings you into pain?
Wow, that's definitely pain for me started as food, but now, like you said, I turned it into joy. I've known this pain since I was a child. It started in probably middle school, having a lot of access to nutritional foods and, eating a lot of processed foods, including wheat. And my whole family is kind of predisposed to celiac disease. So that was a thing that we had to deal with. And growing up in the early 90s, my mom was very, very celiac, had horrible reactions, and there wasn't a lot of great food options for her that there are today. So being that we were somewhat economically challenged, there became a point where she just couldn't eat gluten-free and, went back to a wheat diet, and, that caused a lot of autoimmune diseases for her, watching her go through a lot of pain through this. And it didn't really start connecting to me until middle school, when, I started to eat a lot of sugar and really increase the processed foods. And then you go through puberty and, acne starts, but I felt like my acne was way worse than hereditary kind of thing. Coming to find that some of my skin reactions could have been due to the diet I was eating. So I went to some holistic doctors, did some testing on various things, and turns out I was sensitive to everything because my body and my digestive system was just so poor that I had to make some changes. And one of the things that was kind of determined was I could possibly have a Candida albicans infection, which is due to, everyone has beneficial gut bacteria that help you digest and, absorb nutrients, and my whole digestive system was just out of whack. So I had to realign it. So, through a couple months process, I basically had to eliminate all sugar, all vinegar, processed foods, and was eating whole grain. And that's how I started to get into cooking through, this very mundane, monotonous diet. I just started to try and use different spices and different cooking techniques to actually have flavor in this incredibly boring food that I was eating. And, it got really kind of hooked on it. And, my parents kind of encouraged me to maybe look at it as a career standpoint. It never occurred to me until they actually said that this could be an acceptable career path for me. So in high school, started going to vocational school, working my way in restaurants, and that's when I started to take it seriously and went to Culinary Institute of America. And, fast forward 25 years later, I'm making pizza with high quality wheat.
I think that's so cool because, when I think of someone that's celiac, the bread's not even in the category, yet you found a way to make pizza. This is pretty much the defining characteristic of pizza is bread in a sense. So how did that even come about for you where you were able to be brave enough to go all in on the bread aspect of food when it's such a, it can be a painful thing for people with celiac and people that have bad food allergies.
Right. So this is a huge, very, very layered conversation, I feel like, and topic. But, celiac is someone who cannot digest gluten, right? In their lower intestine, you have cilia, hence celiac. And your body is actually, since you can't digest the gluten, your body is attacking it, right? And it's causing damage to the cilia. So that is a celiac. And then there's debate whether there's celiac and gluten intolerance. Gluten intolerance, can't digest it to some extent, right? It doesn't quite, it's like a sensitivity compared to like, a disease. Mm-hmm. And so I've been diagnosed with the sensitivity. I've never taken the endoscope test where they literally use a camera to see how much damage is going into your intestines. And that's purely from a financial standpoint. I was about to do it, lost my insurance. So the doctor, and at the time I had gotten the blood test and, it was confirmed that I am gluten intolerant. They didn't know to what extent. And I was avoiding gluten heavily at the time. And the doctor was like, well, it looks like you're moderately sensitive. And the only way that we're going to really know if you eat gluten for a while and then go take the camera test to see how much damage is doing it. And so I was starting to do that a couple weeks in, and I was just like, man, I this is terrible. I feel awful. I felt so weak, stressed out. You could see it in my face, just like that. So I stopped. At that time, I was working in a pizza place. I knew I wanted to pursue the pizza end of my career, or the pizza segment of my career. I had spent 20 years in upper fine dining and in country clubs and all of that, and I wanted to bring this kind of like upper echelon of dining experience into something that's so approachable to everyone, pizza, right? So coming full circle back, I discovered, freshly milled flour and high quality flour that's organically grown in Minnesota, milled in Northeast Minnesota, and then, really started to research more about, celiac versus gluten intolerance and what does that mean? And the topic of glyphosate, is heavily debated, whether that's actually contributing to our gluten intolerance as a society. If you look at other countries that don't use it or ban it, they have a lot less gluten intolerance. Canada and US are the two countries that use it the most. Since the 1990s, something like over 100% of glyphosate, the percentage of glyphosate that can be found in humans is increased by 100% since the 1990s. That's literally
ridiculous.
It's literally in 30% of our food. It's everywhere. So I feel that by, avoiding glyphosate, I feel better. Now I eat my own pizza. Don't have reaction. We also use a sourdough starter, which helps to break down the gluten as well in your body. So that's kind of why I pursued pizza with this flour is knowing that, God, it's such almost like an epidemic now with the gluten intolerance and just how terrible it is. Not only, the glyphosate in the flour, but just how heavily processed it is, right? It's stripped of all nutrients and then, fortified with unnatural, vitamins and minerals to replace everything that's been stripped out of it. It's bleached and it sits on a shelf for God knows how long, right? So the whole approach.
We're supposed to eat that, right?
Right. You're supposed to eat that. There's no nutritional value.
Ridiculous.
And there's no flavor. So that's kind of another reason why I went with what we're doing and the vision we have for the company is keeping in mind, not only the flavor, but the nutritional aspects of the product we're putting out there.
That's amazing. And yeah, it really does seem like, every other person has a gluten sensitivity or can't tolerate it. We see it here at the brewery very often where there's somebody that's been a regular for, quite some time. And then all of a sudden, hey, they're not drinking anymore. And it's because they aren't feeling good. There's something that's attacking them on the inside. And then beer is a really easy thing to eliminate, right? Because it's alcohol. It's not necessarily good for you, and it's easier to just suffer with making a sandwich or something like that, or to try to just get the right things in your body. In a sense, it's just really interesting to see what people are doing to try to better themselves, or from the ignorant side of it, what they're not doing to better themselves. Because I grew up. How old are you?
41.
41. I'm 40. I'm about to turn 41 next month. So nice. 1984. It's a good year to be born.
Yeah.
I felt like my whole childhood was setting me up for dietary failure in a sense, because everything was processed, and I loved having desserts, little treats, packaged treats. And it got to the point where I wasn't performing as well as an athlete, but I didn't recognize that until way after the fact. And I'm just so grateful that nowadays there is the research that's out there to showcase what is good to eat and what's not good to eat. Because it set me up for a really rough road where all of a sudden I'm binge eating sugar like it's going out of style, like it's the only source of happiness for me. And still to this day, I love to have sugar, but I can think about it a little bit differently, and I know that it's not going to make me feel good. And I'm so in tune with my body now that from the onset of it going into my belly, I already feel different, and not in a good way.
Totally relate. It seems like the food that's out there today is meant to be addicting, right? Sugar is in itself is an addicting, and then when you add all these other preservatives and additives to it, it's not even food anymore, really, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that is crazy. When you were, in middle school, when this started to really come on, what type of pains were you feeling? Was it just the lethargy of not, having bad things in you, or was it stomach cramps, or what were you feeling?
A lot of rashes, dermatitis on parts of my body, incredible fatigue, just feeling tired all the time, and then using food as a way to uplift me, right? Go to the cupboard and grab a cookie or a snack, and you feel good for 20, 30 minutes, and then, you have that crash, and all right, let's go find that again. And yeah, just very bad skin problems was the main issue, but there was definitely underlining other symptoms.
Wow, I can relate to the skin issue as well. I never like broke out fully, but I would just randomly have, a couple big pimples here and there. That was just like, I don't know, where are those coming from? And then when my first year playing junior hockey up in Canada, my diet totally changed. I'm in a completely different place, and I don't know what officially triggered it, but all of a sudden I was broken out completely on my whole entire face. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I had nothing to fix that. I didn't know if it was what I was eating. I didn't know if it was stress. But when I went and played for another team later that year, it got under control. So it was very odd. I don't know what it was, and I can't pinpoint it, but it just is pretty obvious that I was putting something into my body, whether it was bad food or stress, in a sense that maybe just break out, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with the mental aspect of feeling shitty, and that hurts too,
Right. Food is the basis of everything that goes on in our body, right? Our body tells us when things are not going right through the food we're eating.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can put in your body and how it can harm you or how it can make you feel good. What's also amazing is when you put log into this fire and just get it stoking hot in here. So we're about at that stage where we need to put some wood on this fire and get this party started. All right, now that we got this thing on its way to piping hot, we're ready to resume. And as we were throwing the log on the fire, we were talking a little bit about just the middle school phase of understanding what's going on with your body. And, the sport concept came up about, you didn't really understand what was happening at the time. You're just a middle school kid going through sports, and then all of a sudden, you start to experience extreme fatigue. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's just amazing how as you do get older, your body becomes more in tune with what's bad for you. But when you're young, you just don't even know. And I can only imagine how many young athletes there are out there that are suffering from this just unknown concept of lethargy and just not being able to perform. I mean, when I play hockey, when we were growing up, all you hear was, milk does a body good. And I would just chug like a gallon of milk before playing. And it wasn't until later on in life that I discovered I had a pretty significant sensitivity to dairy. And it was just weighing me down. So I was literally like putting cement blocks in my body before going and competing at a high level. It's just so wild how, you can be a young kid and you can be okay, and then all of a sudden you get to 13, 14, your body just can't process things the same, and sometimes it just doesn't even get recognized, and then you just go on living your life just suffering. It's just a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can remember thinking like, what is happening? I feel so tired. Everyone else is outperforming me, and I'm a skinny kid. I should be thriving. I was excelling early on in grade school, but then I got to middle school and just hit this wall and feeling like everybody was outperforming me, and just thinking maybe I'm not eating enough carbs, so just super carbo loading, right? But that was not what my body needed, right? My body was treating it like the enemy, much like probably your dairy sensitivity.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, at the term carbo load, I would remember, before a big game, let's get everybody over and let's just load up on carbs. And they're not good carbs, it's totally bad processed carbs. And yeah, I mean, that's going to separate success from failures at a young age right there, unknowingly.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what athletes are eating today, right, a lot of them are, plant-based. The diet has completely changed, and I think the more knowledge and the more research we do behind what's in our food can lead to, a better path forward.
Yeah, for sure. I know for me, like I took like that Everlywell food sensitivity test, and it was like 3 years ago. And I found out, highly sensitive to egg whites, dairy, certain cheese. And I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I did what you're supposed to do, and I didn't eliminate it all, but I was conscious of it, and I reduced it, and I paid attention to, my body, mainly what was coming out the back end. And after removing specifically eggs from my diet for a time period, I had better poops. I had more solid dukes going into the toilet. And now I'm kind of back into not having solid dukes again. I'm kind of spraying the toilet, and it's not good, and I need to figure that out. Did you ever come across like that type of scenario when you're dealing with your food sensitivities, or was it mainly just...
Yeah, no, there was definitely the highly processed wheat element to it. It was definitely not right. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that, I mean, you can literally evaluate your health by what's going on in the toilet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And understanding that one of my best friends just recently passed away from colon cancer, and it was the second bout of cancer he dealt with, the first one being lymphoma. And if we, even talk about and look at those subjects, the amount of cancer that's increasing in the United States, right? Specifically digestive cancers. I mean, where is that coming from, right? It comes from, yes, there's some hereditary element to it, just like gluten, right? You are 10% more likely to have a gluten intolerance in a gluten family. And there is some predisposition to cancers, but it's just being fueled by what we're eating and what's in our food.
It's scary, and it's something that I concern myself with as well, because I can keep myself healthy, but if I'm not paying attention to, not only what's going in my body, but how it's coming out, I could just be leaving the door wide open for colon cancer or a myriad of just gut problems that are probably eating away at the inner lining of my stomach, and I'm not going to find out until the problem has gotten way worse, I mean, because I'm too concerned about the external physical pain from injuries, not the internal pain from what I'm trying to, eat and consume to make myself feel better. It's just crazy times out there, and that's why I'm excited to be chatting with you about how you've been able to put yourself in a position where food was once dangerous and now it's your whole life now.
It really is my whole life, but I mean, it's a journey, and it's never going to be perfect. And when you're talking about craving sugar, I still crave sugar like no tomorrow. I try and eliminate as much processed sugars as possible, but I gotta say, man, I got a weakness for that ice cream. I gotta hit it every now and then.
I hear that. What's your favorite ice cream?
Going with the Tillamook. Oh, rich, creamy, fantastic.
Ice cream is
no
good.
preservatives or crap like that. So
It is. We've got some good ice cream purveyors around the Twin Cities.
we do.
Have you ever been lucky enough to grab a pint from A to Z Creamery?
No.
Oh yeah.
Check it out.
More on that one later. Yeah, it's that's an operation right there. We've done a collab with them before, but
Sick.
he releases 1 pint a week and it's gone instantly. It's fantastic ice cream. But it's enough about the sweet stuff. You're getting me excited over here about a post-sweat dessert. I don't need to be thinking about that.
Right.
So, when it came to you developing your specific pizza recipe, like, how did you come about the sourdough starter? How did you come about this decision where this is working for me and now I'm going to make it work for everyone else?
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I pursued pizza, because I felt like being from New Jersey is where I was born and raised, and New Jersey and New York has a type of pizza, right? New York style pizza, which is thin, crispy, slightly chewy, kind of embodies like all the things that great pizza is for me. And then there's Neapolitan pizza, which is your Italian light, different kind of chew, less cooked, more char. And I wanted to develop a pizza that was kind of in the middle, that walked that line of New York texture and that char from Neapolitan, and the approach to ingredients. And that's why I went in that direction, knowing that how am I going to make the best pizza? The best pizza is, pizza's all about, very few ingredients: flour, water, some yeast or starter, and salt. You can add a bunch of other things, but at its basic, that is it. So how are you going to make the best pizza if everyone's using the same ingredients? Right?
Yeah.
You got to really look at the ingredients you're using, and that's how I came to find this flour and develop through more than a year. It still evolves, and always trying to fine tune and get it better in terms of texture and flavor. And sourdough was that element that combined with that flour just brought a unique flavor profile to it. And sourdough is known to basically pre-digest the bread, right? It makes your body easily to absorb and digest gluten.
That's fantastic. I wish I would have known that about sourdough a much long time ago, but it is one of my favorite breads. And when I saw that you were making sourdough pizzas, Detroit and Neapolitan, that got me really excited, because I'm a sucker for a good Detroit style pizza.
Well, we actually make 3. So we do a thin crust tavern style as well,
Nice.
which is your typical bar pie. You do the artisan, which is somewhere in between that Neapolitan and New York style. And yeah, the Detroit has actually been a lot more popular than I thought it was going to be. We actually sell just as much Detroit styles as artisan.
Very cool. You're a part of Fair State Brewing, which is a fantastic brewery, Northeast Minneapolis. Go check them out if you haven't yet. But, you're getting people that are coming in there knowingly drinking beer, but
Yep.
then they're eating pizza. Do they know your story, or are you getting a large amount of people that are, gluten intolerant, maybe even celiac, that are seeking you out?
There is a small percentage, but that's not really how I approach this business. I'm not out there to first tell a story. I think I want the story to be in the product and the taste, right? And that's first and foremost. And then if you enjoy the product and you want to know more about it and understand the story, then we're willing to give that freely. But the main goal is just to put out a product that people love, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that in what we're doing, not only is it a great product, but it's nutritious,
Yeah.
right? It's much more nutritious. I mean, one of the best feelings is having a family come and having the kids eat the pizza and love it. You know what I mean? Like, it's whole grains.
Kids are so picky.
No, they're so picky. Even my kid, when he's mad at me, he says, "Dad, you make the worst pizza." Right? Like, that's how connected we are to food. And, you know, it's an emotional experience. It's a physical experience. It's food is the center of everything.
Yeah.
Arguably, right?
Yeah.
In our lives. So, yeah, the goal is to win people over with the product, and then the story is important. And I think that the people that return to us and come back and have that following go to the website and know the story. And there's definitely a percentage of the population that come there just to experience the sourdough element and the digestive fact of it, that have a gluten intolerance and come to me and say, yeah, that we can eat your pizza. I mean, that's great. We do a gluten-free crust as well that will continue to be developed and fine-tuned. Yeah, but it's also important to, you know, try and make a good product for people who have celiac and just can't digest gluten, right?
For sure. Pizza, very Italian dish, am I right? And you hear a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to go to vacation. I went on vacation over in Italy, and I had more wine and pasta than I've ever had in my entire life, and I felt fantastic. What was going on? And you're basically just bringing what they're experiencing in Italy to Northeast Minneapolis.
That's the goal. I mean, that is definitely, you know, not only does my mother have gluten intolerance, my sister has gluten intolerance. She's been to Italy and eaten the pasta and pizza there, and it's just something about it. It's got to be whatever is in our food here.
Yeah, and that's something that's being addressed right now, and it'll be interesting to see where all that goes. But, you know, regardless what happens on a national level, you know, you have the power to start taking advantage of the opportunities that are available on the local level, and that's where it starts. I mean, for anybody watching at home, I guarantee you that there are some local food purveyors out there that are doing it the right way. And not only would you be out, it's not only, if you seek those businesses out, not only would you be helping support a local small business, but you're also helping yourself. You're putting good food into your body. And that should be you know, reason enough alone to break away from the mold that is the shitty food we've been eating for decades.
Yeah, I mean, there's power in purchasing, right? You have the power to make decisions that need to change by what you buy, like supporting small businesses, where you shop, what values the company have behind them. I mean, that's a good way to make change, right? Not only culturally, but personally. And that's the hope, is by understanding that, you know, is this great local product tasty? Yes. It's nutritious? Yes. And, you know, how can I get it and what can I make with it? You know, that's to inspire someone else to start using it or use it in their home. And the flour is from Bakersfield Flour, by the way, milled in Northeast Minneapolis, less than a mile from actually where our shop is.
Nice.
Really, really great story. And they make the most incredible bread too. Really fantastic bread.
Can't wait to go and try that out. So next time I have some avocado toast in the morning, I'm going to be using some of that bread. I'll tell you that for sure.
Right on. Nice.
Wow. I'm just so grateful that I've been able to get all this good information from you as far as food is concerned. Because again, you know, when you're depleted and you're not feeling well or you're injured and you need to recover, you know, it's important to get nutrients into your body. But what we're here telling you is that the types of nutrients you're putting in your body are most important. And just because it's food doesn't mean it's good food. All right?
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to take JM down to his first ever cold plunge. Are you ready for this?
I got no choice.
Got no choice. Let's do this right now. All right. Here we
right.
go.
Oh yeah, the infamous walk down the dock into the fun of the cold plunge. We got some nice little ice pieces in there. Make it prove that it's cold. Reminder that this is JM's first time, so take it easy on him. Oh yeah, this fortified hole is so nice. Let's go, baby. Remember to breathe slow. low. Got that ladder there to the left. Yep.
Oh, this is pure torture.
Oh, yeah. Good job. I'm gonna brace it for a little bit here. Maybe do a little dunk for good measure. JM's already got his way back. I love seeing a first plunger in action. Change someone's life for the better. Well, I won't waste any more time. Let's get back in that sauna. I'll take another plunge afterwards. Feels good. Yeah. Hooah! How you feel?
Yeah, the numbing pain is subsided.
Yeah, now we're comfortable. It's like it's balmy out now, right? Well, it's gonna be real balmy in there, so let's go head into our sauna. We are back in the lovely, warm sauna. JM, tell me, how did you feel about that cold plunge?
I really feel great after. I mean, the initial like in is shock, and then the initial out is shock, but then, man, your body just feels like relieved. It's hard to explain unless you experience it.
Yeah, no.
And I definitely think might want to go back for another one.
I love that. Yeah, you said it on the way back that you're like, I think you're gonna get me hooked on this. And
yeah,
that's the beauty of the cold plunge. It's so, people are afraid of it at first,
definite
but then you
fear.
try it.
Definite fear.
And it's like you just got off a roller coaster. You just feel invigorated. You feel alive. And I'm glad that I was able to share that with you,
Yeah,
JM.
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was glad that we were able to share this episode together. I can't wait to go and eat some of your pizza, and I think you should all do the same. Farina Rossa is located in the same building as Fair State Brewing in Northeast Minneapolis. And whatever the season is, you're going to have a unique offering on the menu. So go and give your taste buds a ride of their lifetime.
Sweet. Thanks for having me. It's been great talking pain and food, and I think it's been a good experience for me to kind of visit some of the trials and tribulations I've had in the past and keep me focused on what and why we're doing this.
Right on, man. Well, again, I can't thank you enough, JM, and that's going to be a wrap for this episode of Get Sweaty with Leddy, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
You called it that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.